Whoever said you have to spend money to make money was in their bag that day. The truth is, if you want to scale your business, you've got to make it rain. I'm LizJSimpson, founder of the Big Money Movement, accompanied by
Cheryl Perks
and Heather Petherick,
our esteemed coaches at the Big Money Movement. And let me say, look, this topic, I'm not even sure I want to talk about it. I keep going back and forth about how I feel. I kind of hate the phrase, you have to spend money to make money. I think just coming from the socioeconomic background that I do, it sounds a lot like privilege, right? It smells like privilege to me. But on the same token, I am the founder of a fast growth firm. And I would be lying to you if I didn't say I've had to make significant investments to support the fast growth of my business. So, is it true or not? Cheryl or Heather, I need some help. Let's talk about it.
Well, I think the first thing we have to distinguish is spending money is not the same as investing money.
I hear that.
All right. Okay, come on, let's talk about it.
So I think just the mindset of spending money, right, that has a whole different, you're going in a whole different direction. When you're investing money in your business, the investment piece of it requires, the focus is a return on the investment.
Yes.
So you are investing this money to get a return.
Yes.
When you're spending money, typically it's an expense.
It's gone.
Yes,
it's
gone.
not coming back. There's a big difference there.
Yes.
There is. And I know that, the Big Money Movement, we help women entrepreneurs land corporate clients. And the mission behind the movement, right, the catalyst for this movement was the revenue disparity facing women in business, right? We know that women average 67% less revenue than men. When we look at the disparities within women, we know that Black women-owned businesses average $24,000 per year. Latina-owned businesses average $51,000 per year. And so I'm like, that's not enough money to have, really oxygen, freedom, all of these things that women launch businesses for. And so when we have this conversation, it's a big conversation around equity, right? Equity, inclusion, right? And so my concern when we talk about this is, do you have to have money to invest to build a business? And then if we go that route, then I think we're just circling the wagon around this conversation around access to capital, right? And so I struggle with this idea. I want to give credit to our marketing leader at the Big Money Movement, Camila Harrison.
Yeah.
And so Camila brought up this quote that I'm still simmering on. And the quote is by Norman Vincent Peale. And he says, "Empty pockets never held anyone back. Only empty heads and hearts can do that." How do y'all feel about that quote? What's your reaction when you hear that?
Yeah, well, I think about some of the famous founders like Starbucks, right? That started as a homeless man and then created one of the most profitable coffee companies in the world, right?
Yeah.
He's a great example that he had a full heart and he had an idea in his head. He had empty pockets, but look at what he's created. Right. And how many other countless founders have been in the same situation? They were inspired by a meaning, a mission, or a genius idea that they knew if they could just find a way to make it work. When I think about this, I think about appropriateness.
Ooh.
I think about different ways. There are always different ways that we can start a business, right? Whether it is accessing money from loved ones, borrowing money from someone who knows, likes, and trusts us, and that sees the genius of what we're driving, and that can lend us money to invest in our firm. Maybe we're on a longer track, and we can squirrel away some savings. But making investments, again, it's about an investment, making a smart business decision that we know is going to bring a return, right? Not just blowing through our savings and hoping for the best,
Right.
but a balanced and a real discernment around where we're spending however much money is in our pockets that matches our needs with the business and our resources at the time. So for me, it's not about how many zeros are in your bank account, but what level of investment can you get started with to just get to the next level, right? It's about appropriateness and financial stewardship regardless of how many zeros are in your bank account.
Right.
Oh, I appreciate that. What are your thoughts, Cheryl, on that?
Well, and in addition to where the money comes from, right? So you don't want to, just because someone's invested does not mean you now have full option to go on the spend mission, right? So you need to show that there is a return.
Yes.
And just, as you said, be a steward, right, of your business. The second piece of it, what it reminds me of is a saying that, I don't know where I got it from, but you can't be broke and a pessimist at the same time.
You can't afford both.
You can't. You've got to select a lane. If you're going to be a pessimist, then be a pessimist. But if you're broke, you want to have some sense that I can invest time, energy, money into something and grow it to be something bigger than myself. That's typically what entrepreneurs come to the table with.
Yeah, I love what you said there. That investment comes in many forms. It doesn't have to just be dollar bills.
Yeah.
It can be sweat equity.
Yes.
Right. And I think we overlook that sometimes, that there is a real inherent value. Sometimes it might take us longer, but if we don't have the financial dollar bills to invest, there are other ways. Maybe it takes us longer, a little more sweat equity, a little more bootstrapping.
Yeah.
But truly, if it's in our heart and the ideas in our head, we can get there.
We can. It just anchors me back in the mission of the big money movement. And one of my major motivators was, when you look at product-based businesses, right, there's some capital required, some overhead to build the product, to create the product, right?
Yeah.
And what I love about the women we serve is that these are women who, they are leveraging their expertise, right? And intangible, intellectual property, right?
Yes.
These are women who, they know something like the back of their hand because they've spent a decade in corporate doing it, or they've invested sweat equity to develop a skill set. And now, I can monetize this body of expertise, this deep domain expertise, and now that creates a tangible resource, right? When a corporate client invests in it. And so it's like, you can leverage your own resources, as Norman Vincent Peale says, your head and your heart, and take that skill set and have conversations with the marketplace and have an exchange of value, your intellectual property for monetary value, right? And then that could be your investment, your time, right? And then you can build a business by organic client acquisition. Right? So your clients become your investors by the investments they make in your solutions. But to your point, like we find women join the big money movement, that's an investment.
It is.
It's an investment. And though the business model is low overhead, they've made an investment to accelerate the time.
Yes.
Right? They're like, okay, I understand this is a profitable business model, but I don't want to spend my wheels trying to figure out how to get started, right? Or I don't want to underprice, or I don't want to burn bridges by not knowing how to navigate these conversations. So I'll make an investment here so I can see acceleration later.
Yeah.
Google does not have an answer to everything.
Listen, and I'm the queen of saying GTS. I'll say Google that ish all day,
Right.
but you're right.
Sometimes the glue is
It can
not
only take
there.
you so far.
Right,
Exactly.
right. I agree.
Exactly. So no, I think that this is a key conversation, because part of the big money movement is the community itself.
Right.
Which is bigger than all of the things, because you've got a community of investors, action takers, people that are interested in putting in sweat equity, putting in the financial investment, that have longer term vision. They're not necessarily always looking for the sprint. They're willing to go the marathon in terms of getting started and getting what they want out of it. I think that's a key area to focus on.
Agreed.
So I just want to address the elephant in the room too. In uncertain times, now is not the time to shrink. There are whole businesses, Uber, Venmo, lots of businesses that actually grew and came from uncertain times. And that's because those founders doubled down, whether it was on financial, sweat equity, creating community. That's another place, right? Is literally creating community. A lot of times we're having off conversations. We're talking about your network is your net worth.
Yes.
Right.
Take a look around for that as well in terms of investment and where you have to go to bring your business to life.
Yeah. So let's also talk, if we are thinking about investing in our business, if we're investing money to make money, what is the best investment? I gotta say, it comes down to the lifeblood of our business, which is feeding the revenue, making sales.
Say that.
If I am a woman that's looking to grow my business and I have precious little capital to invest, the first place I'm gonna spend is on an area where I can increase my revenues, increase my sales, increase my cash flow. It's sales. Sales is the lifeblood of your business. It's not on spending on websites, photo shoots, VAs, funnels, all the apps and all the things.
Say that, stepping on toes. Heather chose violence.
I can only say
Feel
these
attacked.
things because I had the debt to show for it, right? I learned from Heather's mistakes, right? So if I could speak to my former self and give that poor girl some advice, I'd say, honey, ditch the photo shoot and let's work on sales. Because that's true. When I did, that's truly when the business started to become successful, sustainable, and scalable.
Right.
100%. That's a mic drop. And that feeds to our next video, right? Like aiming at the right things, right? If you just want to spend money, we can't guarantee you're going to get money back. You have to spend money on the right things. Just like if you aim at nothing, you'll succeed. You'll hit nothing, right? So in the next video, we're going to talk about goal setting. Click the video, join us there so we can continue this conversation. Click, click, click. Bye.